what's going on, video? And today I'm going to be talking about could Anthony Davis win this year's MVP. And right now everybody's thinking James Harden has it locked up and that like James Harden's going to win it no matter what. And I mean, as of right now, he probably is going to win it. But I mean, Anthony Davis has been getting into the conversations lately, and I mean, he's really been like creeping up little by little. So I wouldn't be surprised if he could end up winning it. So yeah, I'm going to be arguing why I think he could win it and why I think he won't make it and win it. I'm going to be making both of those arguments for him. And then yeah, so guys, if you do like it, at any point hit like button. If you really like the video, hit the subscribe button. I mean the road to me. So yeah, without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to get into is why he could actually win this. And the first reason I think AD could actually win the MVP is because right now, like, I mean, James Harden's biggest attribute to his game is how well he can score and how good he can shoot threes, and like how he just can like completely dictate a game with how good he can score and shoot. Well, AD is only averaging 3 less points. As right now, Anthony Davis is averaging 28 points per game while James Harden's averaging 31 points per game. So that's only 3 more points than what AD is averaging. And I mean, AD is a power forward. James Harden's a shooting guard. That's not really very bad at all. I mean, come on. I mean, for a power forward that'd be averaging almost 30 points a game. A shooting guard, I mean, shooting guard isn't supposed to be averaging 30 points a game. That's amazing. But I mean, still, a shooting guard should be averaging a lot more points than a power forward, right? Well, no, AD's still averaging almost just as many points as James Harden. And another thing, I mean, obviously James Harden isn't a rebounder, but Anthony Davis is averaging 6 more rebounds per game than James Harden. But you can't really hold that against James Harden, mostly because James Harden is a shooting guard. He's not going to get anywhere near as many rebounds as Anthony Davis. Still, he's averaging a ton more rebounds than James Harden. I mean, he's averaging 11 rebounds. That's crazy. And then also, I mean, a big thing that I found out when I was making this video that kind of surprised me, he is shooting a higher percentage from the field than James Harden. But I mean, not just is he shooting a higher percentage from the field, his effective field goal percentage is higher than James Harden's. And what that means is like, he takes more like efficient shots that affect the game than James Harden does and makes them on a higher percentage, which is pretty cool, and I didn't think that would be a thing, but he actually is like better in them in that. And then another reason is going to be for the past 10 games, I mean, it almost hasn't been close. Just look what AD's been averaging. He's been averaging 33.6 points per game, 2.8 blocks per game, 2.6 steals per game, 13.1 rebounds per game, and he's been shooting 40% from the 3 and 52% from the field. And every single one of those stats is better than Harden's last 10 games. I mean, Anthony Davis has been on an absolute tear these last 10 games. He's been playing better than James Harden, I think, no doubtably, in his last 10 games. Obviously, he got injured and just came back, so I didn't count that game, and I did count the last game for James Harden, but I mean, I just counted the last 10 games they played, and that's what came up. So yeah, Anthony Davis has been playing better than James Harden for the past 10 games, and I mean, Anthony Davis is no doubtably a better defender than James Harden. I don't think you can say he is. And if you do say James Harden's a better defender than Anthony Davis, you're on drugs. Anthony Davis is definitely a better defender than James Harden, but James Harden is probably a better scorer. But I mean, Anthony Davis is right up there just with him, because just look, I mean, James Harden is ranked number 1 in points per game, but Anthony Davis is ranked number 2. So it's not like the scoring differential is so much that it's just no matter what James Harden got MVP. No, it's actually so close that it would come down to defense. And I think Anthony Davis is a better defender by a long shot. And I mean, I think Anthony Davis right now probably should be like higher in the MVP conversation. Like, not higher than James Harden, but I mean, I think he should definitely be like there should be more serious talks than what are right now. And then also, I mean, Davis is doing all this without his superstar, that is DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, that might help him a little bit on points. Like, he might be getting more points than he would if he had DeMarcus Cousins. But come on, I mean, he's doing this without a superstar and without a great point guard. Jrue Holiday's been playing a lot better as of late, but I mean, he's not anything near what James Harden has, and that is Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul gives him the ball, and he can find wide open guys. Jrue Holiday doesn't have the ability to find guys like Chris Paul does. I mean, James Harden has that luxury, and if Anthony Davis had Chris Paul, well, then he would be doing almost as much damage as James Harden is doing on the offensive end. I mean, that's great, and he's almost doing as much damage on the offensive end that James Harden is doing without Chris Paul, which is amazing. Anthony Davis is right now playing better offensively than James Harden. Besides shooting, Anthony Davis obviously can't shoot as good, but I mean, all around offensively, Anthony Davis is probably better, and all around defensively, I definitely think AD is better, and he's obviously a better rebounder, but I'm still not holding that against Harden that much. But now I'm going to be getting into why Anthony Davis probably won't win it this year. I think he'll probably win it next year, but why he probably won't win it this year. Alright, so Harden, this is his third great season in a row, like a monstrous season. And the reason he hasn't won MVP yet is because Curry had an unbelievable year. Then Westbrook went out and averaged a triple-double last year, another unbelievable year. So that's 2 years that James Harden went off, but two players just had these amazing years that you couldn't even believe that you had to give it to him. But now with him being in his third year, and yes, Anthony Davis is having a good year, a great year, he's not having one of these most unbelievable years. And I think just because this is his third year in a row, James Harden has to be able to get it this year. And also, I mean, the Pels aren't really a championship contender, and that's why I don't think he will be that high in conversations this year. It's because they're not a finals contender without Cousins. They probably weren't a finals contender with Cousins. I mean, he's carried them to the 4th seed, well, now they're the 5th seed, so he's carried them to the 5th seed of the West, which is very impressive to do by yourself. But I mean, still, I don't think he's going to be able to get enough success to be in a huge conversation with James Harden. So do I think he will win it this year? No, but I do think he'll probably win it next year, unless someone else has these amazing years like they've been having. But I do think Anthony Davis will win it next year. I really do think that. So yeah, now let's recap before I have to end off the video. So alright, my first reason was that, I mean, James Harden, like, his main thing is scoring, but Anthony Davis is only 3 points per game behind him. He's a better rebounder. He's a better post player for sure. He shoots a better percentage. He's more effective. Like, his effective field goal percentage is higher than James Harden's. I mean, in the past 10 games, no one's been able to touch Anthony Davis. He's ranked number 2 in points per game. I mean, James Harden's ranked number 1, but he's right there with James Harden. And I mean, also, he's doing all this without another superstar. He's pretty much carrying the entire team by himself. But I mean, then obviously James Harden, this is his 3rd year in a row. The Pels aren't really a finals contender, so that's why I don't think he'll make it. So yeah, I mean, that's gonna unfortunately be the end of the video. So comment below, do you think Anthony Davis will win it this year? Do you think he'll win next year? Do you think he'll ever win an MVP? Comment all that below. If you did like the video at any point, hit the like button, it would mean the road to me. If you really like the video and want to make me feel really good inside, hit the subscribe button. It would mean that would legit mean the road to me. And obviously I wouldn't be here without y'all, but obviously wouldn't be here without the real homie OG upstairs, Jesus Christ himself. You know, he's just chilling up there. He's the man, the myth, not a myth. He's the man, the legend. He's a beast, you know, just chilling, watching over all y'all. So I hope y'all have a blessed day. I hope I have a blessed day. I hope everybody has a blessed day. Kids, don't think about you getting that video. Always do drugs. Stay safe. Goodbye.